Hi, everybody. I'm Jenny with Integrated Pediatric Therapies at JCFS Chicago. We're so glad you're with us right now. And each month, our program has a book of the month, and it's usually focused on disability, whether that is a book that describes a disability or a diagnosis to bring more awareness to it, or a book that we love to use in therapy that helps children and families grow, or a book where maybe one of the characters has a disability, but that's not really the main storyline. But we just feel book reading is so important for language development, and when we do a shared reading together, social emotional development, and certainly we know that representation matters. So typically we just post our book of the month in our constant contact or on our Facebook page, but we're so excited because today for our book of the month, we have the author with us who is going to read it to us. So the book is My First Learn to Talk book. And Stephanie, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you wanted to write this book?
I'd love to. Thank you so much for asking me to do this. It's a total privilege and honor to join you and be part of this series. So I wrote My First Learn to Talk book because as a speech pathologist, over my 22-year career, I have searched for a book that focuses on exclamatory sounds and words. And so those are, I know you know this, those are kind of what we think about as building blocks of language, things that kids say or are able to imitate or use right before they get to words or while they're working on those more challenging words. And I just could never find exactly what I wanted. The books I found were too busy or too distracting in a lot of ways, or parents, it wasn't clear how to use them. So I wrote this book because I wanted a tool that parents could use or caregivers could use with the children that they're reading to in a variety of different ways to really be appropriate for a child of any skill level. So there's so many different ways to use this book with kids who are working on all different aspects of language. So the exclamatory words piece is just one piece. It's also filled with emotions and gestures and lots of different things that are interesting to little brains who are learning to communicate.
Yeah, I agree. It's such a beautiful book, and we're going to have an opportunity to look at the pictures soon. But one of the reasons I wanted to feature this book and was so excited for it is that it is a board book. So that means that, it's very durable, but it has a lot of diversity representation. It has children with different skin tones. It has family members in it. But importantly to our theme is that it does have disability representation on the pages that we can see. And that's not something we find very often in board books and something that we seek out. So I'm really excited for that part of this book, and I appreciate and thank you for including diversity and disability in your pages.
Oh my gosh, of course.
So let's get into it. Stephanie, will you read the book to us for story time?
I would love to. One thing I love about this book is the size. So it's a little bigger than a lot of the board books that you might know. So I'm going to try and hold it in such a place that you can see what I'm seeing. Okay. So when I eat an apple, my mouth says, mmm. When my mind is thinking, my mouth says, hmm. When I'm getting mad, my mouth says, ah. When I'm really sad, my mouth says, wah. When I feel surprised, my mouth says, wow. And when I fall down, my mouth says, ow. When I'm getting wild, my mouth says, rawr. When I'm super hungry, my mouth says, more. When I take a sip, my mouth says, ah. When I'm acting silly, my mouth says, ha, ha. When the baby's sleeping, my mouth says, shh. When I'm super sleepy, my mouth says, zzz. When I go down a slide, my mouth says, wee. When I want to have a turn, my mouth says, me. When I'm feeling playful, my mouth says, boo. And when I hug my family, I say, I love you. And then I'll show you in the back, there's a guide that tells caregivers how to use this book. It helps them to really understand the things that they can choose to focus on. And Jenny, one thing that I think is kind of fun to think about for all of our kids at all different levels is there's just so many different ways to use the book. I have handed it over, let kids kind of just flip through the pages. Sometimes we spend a long time just looking at one favorite picture. And then I might be working with a child who's ready to sit and listen to the whole book and wait for each fun word to imitate. Or I know a lot of kids that even like to pretend to read it themselves. So I love the versatility of it, and the kids that I share it with keep teaching me new ways to use it.
Yeah, and that's such an important piece as a speech language pathologist for us to note as we're looking at this book. It can grow with you, but any book, we can just look at the pictures, we can read the words, we can just engage in different ways, and it's so beneficial. Thank you so much for joining us for this story time. It was great to have you read it with us. As usual, we love to have people comment about the book. So, you know, pick up this book from your local bookstore. Some other places you can pick it up are the Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Anywhere else? Does that cover it?
Yeah. I think it's pretty much at Target online. It's in lots of different places.
Lots of different places for you to find it, but you've also heard us read it to you today. So please use this as an opportunity with your child and let us know how they responded, how you felt about the book, and we know that you're going to enjoy it. So thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Bye.